The Pirate King, Episode 10, Containment. By the time Keller made his next move, it didn't come as a surprise. That didn't make it any easier. Sam Jensen saw it coming before the notice ever hit his screen. In the way people avoided eye contact just a fraction too long. In the way conversations cut short when he stepped into a room. In the quiet shift of attention that followed him without ever settling directly on him. It wasn't obvious. Not in a way you could call out or challenge without sounding like you were reaching. But it was there. Consistent enough to feel intentional, enough to feel designed. The situation he was put in had tightened. It was closing in on him without changing its shape. Without becoming something new. Just becoming more defined. More difficult to ignore. He stopped questioning whether it was happening. Instead, he started watching how it was developing. The notice came late in the afternoon. Mandatory review. Immediate. Sam read it once, then again. Not because he didn't understand it, but because he wanted to make sure there wasn't anything hidden in the wording that he hadn't already expected. There wasn't. It said exactly what it needed to say, nothing more, nothing less. No extra language, no explanation, no attempt to soften it. That alone told him everything he needed to know. This wasn't going to be another meeting or another round of pressure. Or positioning. This was going to be escalation. He didn't rush, but he didn't stall. He stood, straightened slightly, and walked toward it like it was just another part of the job. Because at this point, that's what it had become, whether he wanted it to or not. The room was smaller this time, more contained. The kind of space that felt like it had been chosen specifically for this kind of conversation. Designed for decisions rather than discussion. There was less distance between the table and the walls, less room to move, less room to avoid what was happening inside it. Keller sat at the head of the table, the same internal review officer present, along with another Sam hadn't seen before. That part mattered. That meant official documentation. Harris stood off to the side again, arms crossed, silent, unreadable as always. Sam took his seat without hesitation. No one spoke for a moment. Then Keller began. "We're moving forward," he said, his tone even, steady, controlled in the same way it always was, but without any attempt to disguise what it meant this time. Sam kept his expression neutral. With what? Keller folded his hands in front of him. "A formal review of your conduct and performance." There it was. Sam nodded once, absorbing it without reaction, letting the weight of it settle without pushing back. Based on things that never happened? Based on continued concerns, Keller corrected, without changing his tone, without acknowledging the accusation behind Sam's words. Sam didn't argue. Not yet. Keller opened the folder, the sound of it cutting through the quiet more than it should have, sharper than the room allowed for anything else. "This issue," he said, "is no longer isolated behavior. It's a pattern." Sam leaned forward slightly, just enough to engage without pushing, just enough to show he wasn't disengaging. "A pattern you built." Keller didn't react. I documented it. Sam held his gaze. You manufactured it. A pause. The room stayed still, the kind of stillness that didn't belong to silence but to awareness. Everyone in it knew exactly what had just been said, exactly where that line had been crossed, and exactly what it meant going forward. Then Keller said, You're doing it again. Doing what? Resisting procedure, Keller replied, framing accountability as interference. Sam let out a quiet breath, steadying his tone before responding. He didn't rush the answer, didn't give Keller anything extra to work with. I'm pointing out what's actually happening. And I'm telling you, Keller said, his voice flattening just slightly, losing the last bit of conversational tone it had held onto, that your interpretation is not relevant. That stuck harder than anything else because it removed the last piece of ground Sam had been standing on. Not wrong, not inaccurate, not disputed, irrelevant. Sam sat back slowly, letting that settle in instead of pushing against it. Letting it sit where it needed to sit so he could understand it clearly. Then what is it? He asked. Keller closed the folder. Discipline. That was the shift. The rest of the meeting moved through procedure. Steps, timelines, language that made everything sound structured, fair, justified. It removed reality from the equation entirely, turning everything into process. And Sam knew he was being targeted. That was Keller's design. And that was how it was going to work. If it looked like process, it couldn't be challenged like intent. Sam realized that, clearly, without hesitation, that this wasn't something he could fight the way he had been trying to. Not directly, not in this room. So he didn't. He didn't interrupt. He didn't argue. He didn't give Keller anything to build on. Not this time. He followed his dad's advice. And for the first time, he saw what that actually meant. When it was over, he stood and walked out without saying anything. The silence following him into the hallway. Not heavy, not dramatic, just present. The building felt different now. Or maybe he did. He couldn't tell which one mattered more. Harris caught up to him near the exit, his footsteps matching Sam's pace without forcing the interaction, without turning it into something visible. You handled that better, Harris said. Sam didn't slow down. Did it matter? Harris didn't answer right away, then quietly, It might. Sam stopped, turning slightly. For what? Harris met his eyes. For what comes next? That wasn't reassurance. It was warning. Sam didn't go home and he didn't go to the shop. He just drove. No destination, no plan, just movement. The city passed by in pieces. Lights stretching across intersections, empty stretches of road giving him space to think without interruption. The motion helped. Not because it solved anything, but because it gave his thoughts somewhere to go instead of circling in the same place. The words replayed in his head, not loud, not chaotic, just steady. Formal review, discipline, outcome, It wasn't about the work. It was about the removal. Keller wasn't trying to correct him, and he wasn't trying to redirect him. He was positioning him, setting him up for something that could look justified when it happened. Clean, quiet, final. By the time he pulled into the lot outside the shop, the night had settled in fully. The lights inside were still on. DJ was waiting, not working, waiting. Sam noticed that immediately. "You're very late," DJ said. "Yeah." DJ studied him for a moment, reading more than what was said, more than what Sam was showing. "It happened?" Sam nodded once. "Yeah." "What kind?" "Formal." DJ didn't react outwardly. "Then it's moving faster now." Sam leaned against the counter, the familiar surface grounding in a way nothing else had been that night. "It's already moving. He's got everything in place. I didn't do anything." DJ's voice stayed calm, unchanged. "That doesn't matter. He needs a scapegoat." Sam let out a short breath, frustration surfacing again, sharper this time now because it had direction. "You keep saying things like that." "Because you keep needing to hear them." The words hit harder this time because now they felt true. Downstairs, the system had already adjusted. New inputs moved through the network in controlled cycles, priorities advancing in real time as law enforcement activity increased across multiple channels. Patterns tightened and signals sharpened. The system adapted without hesitation, without needing direction for every adjustment, responding to pressure the way DJ had built it to respond. By direct order, Sam Jensen's name still sat untouched, but everything around it had changed. Investigators elsewhere were experiencing complications, experiencing delays that didn't make sense. Missteps were being redirected, and focus was moved just enough to keep attention away from where it mattered most. Nothing obvious, nothing that would trigger suspicion, just enough to interfere. Containment, that was the goal. An operator turned toward DJ. "We're seeing more movement, multiple agencies." DJ nodded once, eyes already tracking the data. "Expected." "You want to scale back?" DJ looked at the screen for a moment longer, watching how it moved, how it adapted, and how it held under pressure. Then he shook his head. "No." "Even with the increased risk?" DJ's voice stayed steady. "This is where it heats up." The operator nodded and returned to work, the system adjusting without pause, without hesitation. Upstairs, Sam stood helping in the shop, trying to hold on to something that still made sense, something that wasn't shifting under his feet every time he tried to stand on it. Downstairs, DJ was tightening control over something Sam didn't even know existed. Both of them were reacting now, and that was the real problem. Because once control shifts, you never know what's going to happen. Coming soon, episode 11, The Setup.